Hey guys, welcome back to Outdoor Instinct. Today we're going to be discussing line choice. Stay tuned. Alright guys. So this is all my line. 6 pound, 4 pound, 2 pound, more 6 pound, some 12, some 2, some more 2, tip up line, some 20 pound, and then some more 12 pound. So let's start with over here. I use this line. This is 30 pound. I use this on tip ups and rattle wheels primarily. Not really brand specific, same style of line. This is 130 pound, probably just what I could find at the time. I use just this style of line. It's a real heavy braid, works great for tip ups and rattle wheels. I like it. I prefer the thinner stuff, just because it seems a little less visible in the water. Fish don't seem to mind it quite so much. This thicker stuff, I believe, is for my spearing stuff. I believe that's what that's for, if I had to guess. And that's what my spearing decoys tie onto. So yeah, that's my tip up line. It's a real heavy braid. Usually about a 30 or 40 pound test. Yeah, 30, 40 pound test is typically what I use for that. That was a bucket. Okay, so moving on. We'll go right down the list. 20 pound. This is on my muskie rod. This stuff's older. It's probably shot if I had to guess, but this is 20 pound monofilament. All of these lines are monofilament as far as I know. Yes, monofilament. All of this line here is monofilament. I primarily use monofilament. I don't really use anything else. So this is 20 pound monofilament. I've used this on my northern / muskie rod. It's okay. It's really coily. Still looking for a better solution, but at this point in time, that's what I have on there. I don't use it very often, so it's not that big of a deal. So that's what I use on that. 12 pound. This is what I use in the winter on my northern rods. In the winter time. Yeah, I ordered a whole bunch of it. This is what I use on my tip up rods. I say that because I have some iFish Pros that I run rods on once in a while, and I usually spool it up with 12 pound on my northern setups, which I don't really use them much, but I just like to have the option. Sometimes it's kind of fun just to play around with it. So that's what I use. That's what I use on my northern rods in the winter. For my iFish Pros is 12 pound. Moving on, we'll go to 6 pound. I got a big box of it here. I always label it to know when I bought it, so I know how old it is. But 6 pound trilene monofilament, usually a low vis green. Typically that's what I try to run. This is my walleye rods. Winter and summer I run 6 pound monofilament. That's a year round for me on my walleye rods. Works great. I like it a lot. Has a nice stretch to it. I've caught tons of fish using this stuff, so I have no reason to change at this point. This is what I use for walleyes. 6 pound. It's what I recommend. That's what I use. Moving on. 4 pound. 4 pound. This is what I'll use on my crappie rods in the winter. Typically I'll put this on any rods that I'll use for dead sticks for crappies. Any kind of rod that I'll use, kind of a crossover between some light walleye and crappie that have the possibility. So like, I'm going out fishing in an area and I have the possibility to catch crappies or walleyes, and it's kind of a lighter action rod. This is typically what I'll put it on. I usually put this on a light rod or a medium light rod. Just a little bit heavier than panfish rod, not an ultralight rod. Typically I'll run this on a light rod or medium light rod. It all depends on how stiff the backbone is and how light that tip is. Because if it has a super sensitive tip, then I'll run my panfish lines, treat it like a panfish rod. But if it's a little stiffer, then I'll put this on, and it's kind of more of a crappie rod for dead sticking for crappies in a basin situation. Okay, now for 2 pound. This is 2 pound gold. This I'll typically use 2 pound gold or bright lime green or an orange. Typically a high vis color. Usually I'm only using 2 pounds. 2 pound. I have used 3 pound, works fine as well. But I like a 2 or 3 pound for on my sunfish rods. I'll use a 2 pound or 3 pound. I'll also fish with 2 or 3 pound for perch. But that 4 pound is also good for perch and walleye at like a dead stick situation or even for a jigging situation. But when I'm specifically targeting perch or sunfish or even crappies, I will typically run 2 pound on my jigging rods. 4 pound is typically a dead stick situation is what so I like to use 2 pound for perch. But at night when you're running a dead stick, the 4 pound's a little nicer for if you catch a walleye to help get you that bigger fish with the teeth up the hole. Because, I mean, a walleye can go through 2 pound no problem. And typically with a dead stick, the walleyes will take it a little deeper and then you're more likely to get broken off. So that's when the 4 pound really comes into play, is when you're night fishing for perch with a dead stick. And then you also have that chance at that walleye. So that's when I like to use my 4 pound or for dead sticking crappies once again at night. But my 2 pound is for sunfish, crappies, and when I'm jigging, actively jigging for perch during the day. That's when I use my 2 pound. I use that on my, most of the time, ultralight rods or light rods. That's what I use for sunfish, perch, and crappies. So we'll run through it again. 2 pound for panfish, monofilament. 2 pound for sunfish, perch, and crappies for jigging. I run my 4 pound for night fishing for perch with a dead stick, or when you have that chance at a walleye when you're fishing for perch. That's when the 4 pound's really nice, because you still get that light line for your perch, and you still have a little more pound test there for if you do catch a walleye, which will happen from time to time. And then I like to run my 6 pound for walleyes. I use 6 pound almost exclusively for walleyes unless I'm dragging some really heavy rigs and I want that extra pound test. I want a little heavier test just to help hold all that weight from like running a big sinker system, dragging Raplas fast with some sort of weights on there to help get it down into depth. That's when I will use heavier monofilament for walleye fishing. But typically I just run 6 pound test. I haven't had a problem with it. That's what I usually run. I'll pull pretty much anything on 6 pound. Works great. So 6 pounds for walleyes, 2 pound for sunfish and crappies and jigging for perch. I like to run 4 pound for dead sticking for perch, especially since you typically have that chance at a walleye at night especially. So that's what I use for line. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Check out my other videos, subscribe, and tune in next time.